Good morning. Welcome to Courageous Conversations. I'm Victoria Lorient-Fabish, and this is an impactful day. This is a special day that a lot of people are, September 11th is a very important day for many, many people, and it brings on a lot of memory. And I'm just going to share this broadcast out with the world, because I really feel like this could be something of use to other people. And so when you come on, and I hope you do, you will begin to share it as well. Hi there, everybody. But I'm just sharing it on my group Courageous Conversations, and so that everyone there can also tune in. And as you come on, say hi, and also good morning, Michelle. Nice to see you. I want to talk about this this very impactful day on many, many people. Many people feel, they feel that this day carries with it the scars of the time of the big sort of, the big attack, 9/11. And so as we journey through this day, the truth is that we can carry with it that scar. We can, as many of us from our childhood will have the scars from relationship issues, problems, from traumas that have occurred. We carry them into the present as part of our, shall we say, legacy, as part of our neural pathway, and how our brain is formed is definitely impacted by these types of things. Now, the thing that people don't know, and I hear this all the time in the office, well, that's just the way I'm made. That's just the way I work. Good morning, Christine, Michelle. Thank you so much for joining us. And I want more people to come on, because I want to tell a few people about this type of work, which is, did you know that a lot of the feelings that we have, that there is a biology to change, that we are not just... we really just aren't at the mercy of our more habitual, or what we think is normal, natural way of being. And honestly, my personality style, I'm just going to be completely transparent, that if I was in a world or in an industry, or not an industry, a business, or a profession, that's a better word, that had no possibility of helping or changing people, or helping people to shift, or methodologies by which people could shift, honestly, I wouldn't be doing this. It's not my personality. So I do know that there is a biology to change, that there are methodologies to shift out of fear, to bring on courage and bravery, that there are specific, not just, plug your nose, close your eyes, and jump in. There are ways to actually be less afraid, to be less influenced by the traumas of your life. And this is what makes me excited about the work that I do, to be very, very honest with you. That there's no real thing I would stick to unless I knew that there were some really effective ways of transforming negative, fearful, difficult, traumatic emotions into a different way of being, a different habit. And really, what I'm here to say is that it's a habit, which many people would find difficult to understand that, or at least to even embrace that. And today being such an impactful day, so many people, do you remember where you were? Do you remember where you were on September 11th, 2001? I certainly do. And a lot of people will take that negativity and embitterment from that time, and then, go, well, my present isn't good, and the future is bound to be terrible. And then there's all that affirmation, bad things happen to good people, which is true. And that trauma will never leave us, and we're totally, we are totally at the mercy of the traumas and of the fears and of the past. And of the and that turns into negativity and embitterment and a chip on your shoulder. I'm sure every one of us has experienced that momentarily. Do you experience that, or is this day an impactful thing for you today, or is your past, experience in your childhood, the thing that is impacting you today, and then habitually, making you see the world through that filter, the filter of trauma, the filter of fear, the filter of embitterment, the filter of, profound inability to just enjoy this moment. And people ask me all the time, why do I feel so negative? Why do I repetitively feel so negative? Why do we have to work so much on being positive? Well, here's the thing. Our ancestors, basically, number one, there's epigenetics, number one. So that's an absolute science, epigenetics, in which they tested with a mouse that was zapped. And I spoke about that recently in the office, that a mouse was zapped. 2 generations later, another mouse that was 2 generations from the mouse that was zapped is like, I'm not going to go, into that particular area that my grandmother was zapped in. And we feel those experiences. So we have epigenetics kind of working inside of us. And Linan, I'm going to talk to you about that, Linan. Congratulations on your grandchild being born. Yay! And today will be a day of profound love and the beginning for you on so many levels. And people have birthdays today. We can't, let's not negate that. But we have epigenetics working on our behalf. We have also our ancestral brain, which is the limbic system, which is the fight, flight, freeze system, which was basically to help us survive saber-toothed tigers. And that system has not gone away and helps us to navigate difficult, traumatic, scary situations. But unfortunately, sometimes in life, I find that people have, because of traumas, etc., their amygdala and their limbic system is sort of switched onto the on position. And so we have to work really hard to switch that off, and so that you're not always operating from fight, flight, freeze. And there are techniques, and so the truth of the matter is that, people, one of the things that I really want to say is that talking about your fears only doesn't change anything. You need to actually operate from a place of physically changing your fear state. And one of the fastest techniques, and I just want to say, and please don't poo-poo what I'm about to say as just overly simple, because it's not, is you need to become aware of how you're breathing in the moment of your fear. So the first line of defense in the biology of change starts with the breath, begins with slow breathing. When I facilitate information about this, and I'm going to be doing at some point a day-long workshop on creating bravery and courage, and please let me know if you'd be interested in participating in something like that, because there is some really amazing techniques that are to change the biology of your habitual tendencies of fearful, negative, embittered, but specifically fearful thinking, which brings a lot of other ways of thinking. So I would love you to be part of that, but let me know that you would be interested, and certainly join my group Courageous Conversations, because I will definitely speak more about that, because I think that we need a 1 day as opposed to 4 hours, but 1 full day where I'm teaching you specific techniques that I use in the office for people, in which we begin the journey of specific neural dynamic brain retraining techniques that are sometimes simple, sometimes a bit more complicated, and you've got to do the actual technique in order to shift out of the autopilot way of thinking, which seems so incredibly seductive. It's so seductive to think in fearful ways and to go, oh, it's all doomed and it's all terrible and, the news is all bad. My gosh, we have a lot of bad news, but honestly, they're in the business of marketing the news. Let's not forget that. They're marketing the news, which makes it more scary, more bad, more horrible, so let's just not get too seduced by that. And there's something kind of delicious, I think, in the world about, like looking at an accident on a highway. It's like, let's just all look at all the accidents in the highway of life. Honestly, it does not help the nervous system at all. And so number one is slowing down your breathing. With whatever technique works for you, the one that I most quickly do is I say to people, and you can do this right now, feel your body on your chair. Feel your body on your chair. That snaps you into the present moment. Feel your legs on the bottom of your chair. Feel your arms, or feel your shirt on your skin. Wow, that's a detail. Go into the detail of that. Feel your shirt on your skin. Feel how your hands are now currently sitting. And so on. And we do that type of thing where we start to, it's a beginning exercise. It's the beginning of an exercise of profound grounding in the moment. And the other thing is slow your breathing. This exercise helps your breathing to slow. And what that does in terms of the biology of change is it turns on the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your relaxation response, and tends to calm down the amygdalian limbic system fight-flight response, fight-flight-freeze response, which is part of the sympathetic nervous system, which is, the readiness for something bad to happen. And people always say, well, if I'm not ready, then how can I be prepared for something bad to happen? Well, the truth of the matter is that to live in the delusion that you can be ready for all bad things to happen is to completely ruin your life, essentially. I mean, it's a choice you're making. To constantly live in readiness for bad things is to destroy the present moment and any positivity that you might garner from the present moment. So what I'm suggesting people do is to start to at least understand that your fear thoughts, your negative thoughts are a habit. You must see it as a habit versus as a reality. That's the first most important step, is to first cognitively understand that the way you think is habitual and associated with neural pathways in the brain, and therefore we can, because we know about neuroplasticity, we can dynamically retrain our brain through exercises, through specific ways of looking at things, and through specific protocols to change the brain. And again, I wouldn't be doing this. I would not be doing this work, because I think you guys are starting to get to know me. I'm, this person, and if I didn't think that the techniques were there to change ways of looking at things, honestly, I don't think I would be in the business of being a psychotherapist, because I'd be so discouraged. To me, what I've been doing this 20 plus years, 25, oh my. What makes me excited is knowing that people can change through various specific protocols and techniques. And to feel acknowledged, you need to acknowledge yourself. Another massive line of defense is to impose, and I'm going to say that word because it when we are working with habituation, you need to impose something. To change your habit, you need to impose something. And here's what you want to impose: compassion. Compassion for self. Compassion and gentleness for self. And so I'm just reading Wendy's note. It's it's your daughter's birthday. And remember, just after her birth, feelings like, oh no, what a birthday. But I tell you now, I love this date. And also Lynn Ann's granddaughter was born early this morning. Congratulations, both of you. And give your little ones a snuggle on Victoria's behalf. And really, really, I feel like we need to redefine dates generally. I had a client years ago who had the death of their child on a specific date, and so that date became, the lead up to that date was really horrific, the date was really horrific, and then the leading out. So half the year was just ruined forever for her. So we really went about the business of changing the meaning of that day. Now, you'll never, when you lose a child, it's the most horrific thing in the world. It's truly, truly the most horrific thing in the world. And really, there's no changing of the horror of that. But you can begin to create new energies around the date, so that your life isn't destroyed. And so we did do that, and it became better for her, even though, 10 years prior to that work that we did, she had lost a child, and it was just, the worst. But we were able to really start to shift how she dealt with the going up to that. There was the day and then the coming out of that. And it was a lot of brain retraining and neural pathway retraining, and then a lot of compassion and acknowledgement, and a real way of navigating through that habituated process of the trauma of that particular date. And 9/11 is quite traumatic for so many people around the world, whether it be a personal experience with 9/11, or, just because we all knew where we were and we were traumatized together as a world in terms of that day. And I know exactly what I was doing, and I remember that. In fact, at this very moment, I was in the very moment that was happening. This is the moment that 9/11 was going on, around 9:30 in the morning, 9:30 in the morning. So important to redefine, rehabituate, and change, and understand that you have a choice. That's the big thing, is you have a choice. And the other thing, another small little technique, is when you feel the wave of the reactivity, because that's what it is, you feel a wave of reactivity, part of the discipline, and it's all about discipline, I have to say, is lean out so that you can get some perspective and observe what's going on within yourself. Don't be the hurricane. Don't be the hurricane. Observe the hurricane. Does everyone understand what I just said? So there's the hurricane, which are the feelings and the emotions and the and then there's the lean out and observe the hurricane. And this is a very, very important technique that I encourage everyone to use over and over. And as I said, if I had the ability to have a day long where I'm teaching people how to do a variety of techniques, 2 or 3 really important ones, more detailed than the ones I'm sharing today, it would be very helpful to really transform fear, anxiety, the negative and bitter thoughts into, and really transform how you, really finding new ways of making meaning of events and experiences and thought processes. And so the journey for you needs to be a disciplined one, and also a biological one in which you engage your brain biologically, and also to cognitively buy into the fact that a lot of our feelings and thoughts come from habit, come from repetitive habit, where we just sort of, that neural pathway is in place and we just go down that groove again. But to allow it to be there is to allow that groove to get deeper and deeper. And the longer you leave it there, the deeper it gets, and really the more ingrained that way of thinking goes. And so there is no way around the mountain, I have said in other videos, and it's time to really get in there and apply some specific protocols to change the habituation of fear, negativity, and embitterment, and transform them. And it's possible. Again, I wouldn't be doing this work if I didn't think it was possible. It wouldn't be my personality. I need to see some results. And so therefore, I do see results every day, all the time, by people who are deciding, making a decision. You've got to start with a decision, making a courageous choice to change out of the meaning that you make, the meaning that they make of something that constantly causes them pain and fear and all of those things. You need to create new meaning. You need to make new meaning of it. And that's also a cognitive piece that we start to marry with the biology. And so, number 1, understand it's a habit. Number 2, breathe. Do a new kind of breathing. Slow your breath down. Number 3, lean out and observe. Those are 3 simple techniques. 3 simple techniques. There are so many more, and I would love to share so much about that, because the truth of the matter is that we can be at the mercy of our feelings and of our beliefs, or we can use our biology and our cognitive understanding and meaning making to shift how we perceive that event or that experience. And that's, to me, precious to know that we can do that. But we have to buy into the fact that we can, in fact, do that. So that's what I'm challenging you to do. So number one, lean out and observe. Number two, change your breathing so that it's slower and so that you can turn on the more relaxation response and turn off the fight-flight response. And also buy into the fact that you have the ability to tap into your biology to create change so that you're not at the mercy of habit thinking, which will take you down a rabbit hole of horror, of pain. Okay? And life is hard. Yes, I am not here to say, oh, Pollyanna, all is well. Believe me, you've known me, you've heard me. I know life can be very, very, very challenging, but you don't need to be at the mercy of your beliefs and of your habituated thoughts. I hope that is clear, and I want you to ponder this video, watch it again, ponder it, and also make a new meaning about today. Today is a blessed September 11th. We have a spectacular opportunity to really redefine this day and make it a wonderful day. And all you who have birthdays out there and people who are born today, bless you. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant day. And 0911 has some really good numerology associated with it. It's a double number, really powerful. Don't forget that. And all of you who have birthdays today, you are blessed people. Yay! Happy birthday to you. And all of you who have births and special moments on September 11th, let's make that the meaning of this day. And learn from the past, but let's not bring the past to color the present. So that we can have a phenomenally wonderful future, which I believe. Again, if I didn't believe all this stuff, I wouldn't be doing it. I'm extremely clear about that. So tomorrow, join me for another courageous conversation with Sonia Cote. I'm going to post about her. She wrote an incredible book, I'm Not Naked Anymore, and Tales of a Modern Day Jezebel. She's got so many incredible, courageous stories about her Me Too moments with some famous people and not so famous people, and her journey as a woman in the world. Well, I'll let her tell the story, but it's a big time, interesting story. So please join me tomorrow for another courageous conversation, and have a fantastic day. And tune in tomorrow. All right. Have a brilliant day. Adios. Take care.